Welcome to Faith-Based Inspirational Stories, where we tell uplifting stories that inspires you and make your faith rooted in Christ. They laughed when she knelt to pray for a husband. They whispered when years passed and nothing happened. That what they didn't know was that God was writing a testimony that would silence every voice in the room. Not quietly, not secretly, openly. At weddings, they would whisper, "Still single? At your age, you aren't married yet? What are you still waiting for? My dear, time is going. Please do and get married. All your mates are married. Maybe God said no." At family gatherings, aunties would shake their heads with pity. Friends who once prayed with her stopped inviting her to bridal showers because they got tired of her showing her face in their parties. Even in church, some people avoided her eyes because every time prayer was called, they see her as being over-religious and not wanting to socialize. She knelt, not once, not sometimes, every single time. And she's always praying for one specific prayer. "Lord, give me my husband you promised." Months passed, years passed, nothing happened, nothing changed. She still remained single. Suitors came and left. One man promised her marriage, but nothing happened. One man betrayed her. Another chose someone else. Another said she was too religious. Another said she was too spiritual. Her heart broke quietly over and over, times without numbers. There were nights she cried herself to sleep, and mornings she forced a smile so nobody would know. She pretended to the people around her that everything was good, and still she knelt. She never stopped praying. She never stopped serving God until one day everything changed. The same room that mocked her, the same people who whispered, the same voice that doubted, went completely silent. They were all astonished because the woman they called foolish was about to stand up with a testimony nobody could deny. It was evidently visible to all what God did for her. No one saw it coming. Chloe had always believed in love, not the movie kind, not the shallow kind, but the God kind of love, but the kind that felt safe, peaceful, chosen by God. As a young girl, she watched her parents pray together every night. Her father would hold her mother's hand and say, "You are God's gift to me." That sentence stayed in her heart. She wanted that. She wanted that kind of love and life for herself. She kept her faith. She believed God would give her that. So when she turned 25 and still wasn't married, she wasn't worried. God's timing, she would say with a smile. She would say to herself, when the time is right, God will make it happen. At 28, she still wasn't worried. At 30, the question started. Her faith started to shake. At 32, she whispers again. It started small. Don't worry, your turn will come. Then it became sharper. You are too picky. You are too prideful. Reason men are running away from you. Maybe you pray too much. Men don't like strong women. Men love women who are sociable. Men don't like church women. Some people said worse things behind her back, and those words broke her. One afternoon at a wedding reception, she overheard someone saying she should just accept anybody at this point. Time is no longer on her side. Her chest tightened. She went to the bathroom and cried silently so her makeup wouldn't run. That night she went home, locked her door, knelt beside her bed with vexation in her spirit. She prayed, God, I am trying to trust you. Please don't ignore me. Then came Daniel, a very handsome dark man who works in a tech company. He is the first child of his parents, and he fears God. He headed the protocol department in his church. He was kind, gentle, jovial, and prayerful. For the first time, she felt hope again. They talked for months. He met her family. He prayed with her. He spoke about the future. One evening, he said, I think you are the woman I've been praying for. He said, smiling. Her heart exploded with joy. But 3 weeks later, he called. His voice sounded distant. My parents want me to marry someone from our tribe, he said, quietly, who understands our traditions. And being the first child of my parents, I need not disobey them. You are a good person, he said, and I know you will find someone else. Silence fills the line. I am sorry. That was it. Just like that, he was gone. She didn't cry immediately. The pain came later, heavy, crushing. That night, she lay on the floor instead of the bed. God, why? She whispered. No answer came. Months passed. Fear started growing inside her. What if it never happens? What if I am cursed? What if I am alone forever? What if something is wrong with me? She was searching for answers. She stopped attending weddings. She avoided conversation about relationship. She smiled less. But one Sunday during church prayer, the pastor said, somebody yes feel forgotten. But God says you are not forgotten. Her heart started pounding. Tears fell, and something inside her shifted. That day, she made a decision. She would not pray casually anymore. She would pray intentionally. Every morning before work, every night before sleep, every church service, she would kneel. People noticed. Some admired her. Others mocked her. Prayer warrior for husband. But she didn't stop. Because prayer was the only place her heart felt safe and felt peace. She was determined to keep praying no matter what. 33 came, nothing. 34 came, nothing. 35 came, still nothing. Friends got married, had babies, built homes. She celebrated them, but cried later in private. One night, she told God honestly, I am tired. I don't understand, but why will I still trust you? That prayer was different. It wasn't desperate. It was surrendered. A few months later, something unexpected happened. She received a job transfer to another city. She didn't want to go. Everything familiar was where she was, but she felt peace in her heart, so she accepted. The new city was uncomfortable at first. New church, new people, new routine. Then one Sunday she met him. His name was Samuel. He works in an oil company, dedicated to the things of God, an easygoing person. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't charming, he was calm, steady, kind. They became friends first. No pressure, no promise, just conversation. Weeks turned into months. One evening after church, he said something simple. I've been praying for clarity. I believe you are the woman God prepared for me. Her heart froze. Fear tried to rise, but peace was stronger. Their relationship was different. There was no confusion, no anxiety, no guessing. Everything felt right. A year later, he proposed, not with noise, not with drama, just sincerity. Will you marry me? She cried before answering, yes, yes, yes. At the wedding reception, many of the same people who once mocked her were present. Some looked surprised, some looked ashamed. When it was time for testimony, she stood with the microphone in her hand, trembling slightly. Then she said, many people saw me leaning in prayers for years. Some thought I was foolish. Some thought God forgot me. Some thought I was wasting my time in prayer. Some thought I was prideful. The room became quiet. But I learned something. God is never late. He is preparing what we cannot see. Tears filled our eyes. If I had married earlier, I would have missed the man God chose for me. Every delay was protection from denial. Every tears was preparation. She held her husband's hand, and today I understand why God made me wait. The room was completely silent, not mockery, not pity, respect, because her testimony was undeniable. Years later, Koi would still kneel in prayer, but now beside her husband. Sometimes they laughed, remembering her waiting years. Sometimes she cried, not from pain, but gratitude. And one night she whispers to God, thank you for not answering me when I wanted, but when I needed. Because the woman who looked foolish kneeling was actually being positioned for a miracle. Final message. Delay is not denial. Mockery is not the end. Waiting is not wasted. Sometimes the prayer everyone laughed at becomes the testimony everyone respects. The end.